Hi, it's your cards and crystals and astro wisdom for the week of October 14th through the 20th. And I'm Kim from Expressions of the Universe with your weekly wisdom. Interesting energy with this Venus in retrograde. It has a lot of us thinking about heart issues, heart matters of the heart, relationships, how things are playing out all around us, and staying in our hearts is so important right now, especially during this Venus retrograde in Scorpio. That darkness, it is bringing out a lot of ego, jealousy, envy, people wounding people. I got that from Practical Mystics, and I wanted to share that with all of you, but I couldn't because it's a closed group. So when I saw that, how wounds are playing out within people right now, it's interesting. The cards that I pulled, always interesting. And the crystal that I'm using for this week, it has to be rose quartz. So I've got a rose quartz bracelet on. This is one of my smaller pieces. This is my pocket piece. It's beautiful pink. It is for your heart chakra, brings clarity to the heart chakra. It emanates love, and I think that that's what we need to all do right now, is to emanate love and try to stay in our higher hearts and not in that ugly dark place of Venus retrograde in Scorpio. So the first card that I have coming in tomorrow, I love it. It's joy. And I'm trying to get it out of the casting of the light so you can see it. And how perfect is this? This is about finding our own personal joy, finding things that make us joyous and feel joyful, and not worrying about everything else that could be going on around us. So many times in our lives, we're so busy that we don't have any time for ourselves because we're constantly doing for others, between our families and work and all of our other obligations. When is there time for joy? And sometimes you have to schedule it. You have to put it in your calendar and take some time off and do things that are joyful to you, for you. It's kind of like self-nurturing in a sense. But this week, I think it's so important for us to focus on that joy and happiness because we are in the higher degrees of Libra. This is one of the last full weeks of Libra because next week we will be moving into that Scorpio energy, getting ready for Halloween, the thinning of the veil, allowing spirits to come in, Day of the Dead. That's why I'm using the Halloween deck. But in all seriousness, with this being the last week of Libra, it's so important for us to find that balance in our lives, find out what is out of balance within us and try and balance that out. It could be maybe your sleep is off balance. Maybe your eating and your nutrition is off balance. Are you sitting around and laying on the sofa too much? So maybe you're not getting enough movement in your life. Maybe that's out of balance. Maybe our relationships are out of balance. So it's a good time to take a look at whatever is out of balance in our lives so that we can balance that out. And that will make us more joyful for sure. Now, the card that comes in, I'm going to post this on Tuesday, and it is the Death card. And it looks extremely ominous. And that moth reminds me of Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, does it remind you of Silence of the Lambs too? Do you know that? But this is really all about endings so that we can have new beginnings. Doors that are closing, chapters in our lives that are ending in order to open up and make way for something new and something better. In a lot of cultures, death is looked at as a celebration because it's the beginning of a new adventure. Whereas in many other cultures, people look at birth as the beginning. And so if you could just change your perception that endings actually offer us a new beginning and shift that perception, then we don't have to have fear about endings and death and things that change in our lives. Coming in on Thursday. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. This is not your time. This is Zombie that's coming in on Thursday. And I really almost didn't want to post this card because I know of a lot of people that have a belief that we keep talking about this word in particular. Sorry, I had to pause for a second. A lot of people that I know feel that with all of the zombie shows, zombie movies, people talking about that it could manifest that into reality. We're just like a sliver away from that. But really what the meaning of this zombie card is control. And when I saw that word underneath about control, it's about other people trying to control other people through their own agendas. And what I think we need to focus on is a little self-control. If you are trying to control people with your actions, whether subconsciously or consciously, if you can rise up to a place where you realize that you're trying to control situations, you're trying to control agendas, wanting things to go a certain way in your life, then maybe you should stop and think for a second a little bit more about self-control and the reasons why you may have a need to control. And I feel like, this Scorpio energy, this Venus in retrograde in Scorpio, a lot of people are trying to control other people because they're not getting what they want in their lives. They're not filling their hole. They're not fulfilling their own joyful purpose. And so I'm going to have to explore this a little bit more during the week before I post it so that I can elaborate on that. And I love that I picked this next card for all of us because it really talks about the energy that is going on right now, especially with this Venus in retrograde, and it is forgiveness. And I think that this card is so super important for how we're going to end this Libra season, how we're going to deal with the rest of this Venus retrograde season. And I just want to read the excerpt from the booklet that came with it because it's pretty beautiful, and then I'll put my own twist on it on Friday. And it says, I'm going to switch this over here for all of you. It says, a wrong is done. Consequences you cannot deny. But to hold a grudge is to drink poison and think that the other person will die. I think I want to just leave it at that. I mean, think about that. But there is more to this. It says, being that we're coming into a changing of a season. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, it is a cold season. And it's a perfect time to pause and think about how things actually are in our lives and what heavy burdens we do not wish to carry through these harder, harsher times. With us, it's winter is coming. You don't want to be secluded and isolated in the winter carrying such heavy burdens. Some of this heavy-heartedness may relate to old relationships or grievances. Some may relate to negative feelings we hold on to tightly about others, and even a lack of compassion for the mistakes we ourselves have made. So this speaks about not only the wounds that others have inflicted on us, but the wounds that we've inflicted on others, the wounds that we have inflicted on our own selves. Some people judge themselves so harshly that there's no need for others to judge them. So you want to end that cycle ASAP. This card's coming in on Friday, October 19th, which is my Poppy Day. Very special day to me. It is said that it takes a big person to apologize, but in many ways it takes an even bigger person to forgive. When we hold grudges, the negative energy is incredibly toxic. It is like drinking a poison and expecting the other unforgiving person to die. Whilst we may even harbor feelings of revenge, and to be honest, that does feel good for a little while, it is important that we move those feelings along to forgiveness and release as soon as possible for our own health and well-being. If you have chosen this card, which I have for all of us for Friday and for the weekend coming, think about who it is that you could be forgiving, and that includes yourself. And I will be thinking about that card all week. I personally, before pulling this, I did a hot salt bubble bath cleansing. I did a little ceremony for myself to start afresh and start new. And then I was able to obtain some pretty powerful magic yesterday at the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair. And I was able to conduct a sealing and protective ceremony for myself today. And I feel really fantastic. Now, I know a lot of you probably don't even believe in magic, or you don't deal with magic. Maybe some of you do. However, this sealant ceremony and spell, I guess you could say, will not only protect me, but, deflect anything that is coming to me. You can also use crystals to do that, to help shield you. Visualization in your meditation. Put a bubble up around yourselves. Put a, shield around yourselves every day before you leave the house. And sometimes I do forget to put that up. But I was just going to say buyer beware. Not buyer beware. Woe to thy enemy, because I am protected and impenetrable only to love and joy and happiness. So on that note, if you want to know more information about the herbs that I used in my ceremony, you can message me, comment here, share this video, give me some thumbs up, and make sure that you subscribe so that you can see more weekly wisdom. And possibly with Halloween coming, I will post a little video with that sealing ceremony that I did for myself and for my family to protect us. So everybody have a really great week. I love you. Sorry this video came in so late. I just, yeah, I guess that's my exit note. So thank you for watching. Be sure to comment and like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a great week. Bye.